My parents used to say something when I was younger that has stuck with me a lot my adult life. If you don't understand why something is there or something is the way it is, then it's not for you.
I say this for just James Charles. If you're curious about something in the world, Google it. We are in the era of information, and you are still asking questions as if you don't have an entire computer in your pocket. You become more informed if you stay curious rather than stay ignorant.
James Charles is the embodiment of every negative stereotype about catty, histrionic, judgy gays.
These bitter comments are just the tip of the iceberg of growing criticism targeting James Charles, once seen as a trailblazing icon in the beauty industry. From a teenager who shattered gender norms to become CoverGirl's first male ambassador, James Charles now seems trapped in an endless cycle of ethical controversies, insensitivity, and evading accountability. Past apologies, once hoped to signal growth, now feel like clumsy performances, insufficient to quell the public's mounting disappointment. To understand James Charles' relentless downfall, we must dissect two recent incidents where cracks turned into collapse. First, his offensive remarks about people with disabilities. Second, his response to the scandal involving Evan Johnson, accused of abusing Kayla Mellick. These incidents not only sparked fresh waves of backlash but exposed a recurring pattern in James's behavior: denial, blame shifting, and a lack of sensitivity on critical issues, mistakes someone with his influence cannot afford. More crucially, this piece raises the question: is this the final bell tolling for a once adored beauty angel, or just another chapter in an unending string of scandals that James Charles remains trapped in? And the most perplexing question: why, amid countless controversies, does he still maintain allure, even commanding the attention of Gen Z?
I went into the bathroom, and I guess he saw the bathroom light, so he started making the conversation very sexual, and it made me really uncomfortable. And I'll post some of the stuff that he sent me now. You can't see it because it's blurry, because I took it on my iPad, because I don't want him to see that I screenshotted it, but I'll post it right now. He proceeded to send me explicit pictures of his body.
James Charles Dickinson, born on May 23, 1999 in Bethlehem, New York, began his journey as a makeup-obsessed teenager, posting tutorials on YouTube starting in 2015. With bold style, masterful skills, and rare confidence, James quickly captured the internet's attention. Within a few years, his YouTube channel amassed millions of subscribers, making him one of the youngest and most prominent beauty influencers in the world. The defining milestone of his career came in 2016 when he became CoverGirl's first male ambassador, a media explosion that shattered traditional gender norms in the beauty industry. Hailed as a pioneer, he inspired millions of young people to express themselves. His fame skyrocketed further when he joined the Sister Squad with Emma Chamberlain and the Dolan twins, drawing a massive Gen Z following. With his signature greeting, "Hey sisters," and approachable demeanor, James built an image as a friendly big brother, a symbol of positivity and individuality. But that glow didn't last forever. His calculated ambition to conquer the world, an increasingly inflated pioneer ego, and strategic missteps in managing his reputation gradually cracked his cherished image, laying the groundwork for an inevitable series of crises. The first fall came in 2019 with the Bi-Sister drama, when his close mentor Tati Westbrook accused him of betrayal for promoting a rival brand. The public was stunned to see a different James, manipulative, dishonest, and media-savvy in the worst way. The fallout saw over 3 million unfollows in days, his first major cancellation.
This YouTube feud has everybody talking, at least if you're in the YouTube fan world.
Yes.
It's been viewed over 33 million times. We're breaking it all down for you in case you haven't heard what's going on.
So on Friday, James Charles, the 19-year-old YouTube beauty blogger, had around 16 million followers. Now that number has since dropped by 3 million, shows no signs of slowing down after fellow YouTuber and former mentor Tati Westbrook publicly cut ties with him in a lengthy YouTube video.
Just 2 years later, in 2021, James faced allegations of grooming for inappropriate messages with minors. His repeated, inconsistent, and insincere apologies only reinforced the image of an arrogant influencer indifferent to the consequences of his actions. These incidents weren't just temporary stains. They were pieces of a pattern defining a James Charles perpetually entangled in controversy, showing no real signs of learning or growing. By 2025, each new scandal deepened public disappointment, yet also begged the question: why, despite it all, does James Charles still maintain his allure, even captivating a new generation of young fans? And the answer likely lies in how James Charles repeatedly resurfaces, not with meaningful growth, but through increasingly distasteful scandals. The prime example is an incident in mid-2025, when James Charles brazenly insulted one of the most humane urban design features, an act that fully exposed his staggering ignorance. In a TikTok video, the influencer, once dubbed a beauty angel, publicly complained about tactile paving, the meticulously designed structures that help visually impaired people navigate public spaces safely.
You know what's pissing me off today? These fucking, like, whatever bump fucking stupid ass things they put outside of grocery stores and airports. Like, what is the purpose of them? Can somebody genuinely explain it to me? If you are like a engineer, why on God's green earth, if I just spent $200 on groceries but I want to roll them over the and give my entire car a seizure. Like my in a bag just sitting in my car like why? Why? What the fuck? Literally, what the fuck? We just bought a bag of ice, rolled it over, ew, my fucking hair. Ugh, just bought a bag of ice, rolled it over the thing, immediately hole in the ice. Okay, just spilled all over the fucking road. When you go to an airport, like, why am I gonna sit there and roll my luggage over that shit and have everything like jumping around inside? It's literally having a seizure. Stop. It just doesn't make any sense to me. Like, what is the point? What is the point of those bumps other than making everyone's life miserable?
With characteristic arrogance and thoughtlessness, James turned a compassionate design into a target for his personal grievances, calling them stupid and annoying, simply because they rattled his shopping cart or suitcase. Why do they put these stupid things here? It shakes everything up, my stuff's all messed up. He griped in the video, his smug tone betraying no hint of doubt about his blatant ignorance. This wasn't just a foolish mistake, it was the spark for a new collapse, adding to the long string of infamous dramas that have defined his controversial career. The TikTok video was later deleted, but the internet doesn't forget. In the clip, James stood outside a grocery store, pointing at the tactile paving on the sidewalk and loudly complaining. He described them as a personal inconvenience, shaking his cart or suitcase and jumbling his belongings. "It's so annoying, who puts these things here?" he said, his tone dripping with irritation and self-centeredness. He even questioned their purpose, as if their existence was a personal plot to inconvenience him. This ignorance wasn't just a lack of basic knowledge about a common urban design, it revealed a deeply alarming disregard for fundamental societal values. To grasp the gravity, consider the significance of tactile paving in modern urban settings. These surfaces aren't frivolous, they're among the most humane design solutions, crafted to allow visually impaired people to navigate with canes or by foot, alerting them to intersections, crosswalks, or hazards. They enable marginalized communities to integrate safely into public spaces. Yet James Charles, with over 20 million followers and a self-proclaimed role as an inspiration, casually mocked them on camera, all because of a minor personal inconvenience. The question arises, how can a global influencer be so callously ignorant? This wasn't just a personal error, it was a warning about the shallow mindset of someone once expected to be a role model. The public's reaction was swift and unforgiving. Parody videos of James's clip flooded TikTok, Twitter, and Reddit, accompanied by a torrent of outraged comments. One Reddit user wrote, "James Charles thinks tactile paving was made to inconvenience him. This is peak stupidity." A harsher tweet read, "Not only clueless, he loudly mocks something that helps disabled people. This is a new low for James Charles." The tab published a biting headline, "Ignorance isn't cute. Google is literally free." The anger didn't just come from online communities. Disability advocacy groups called his behavior a public insult to humane values. Under pressure, James deleted the video and posted a brief explanation on Instagram stories on July 8, 2025. He admitted he didn't know the purpose of tactile paving and vowed to learn more to understand better. But this explanation was widely seen as a clumsy damage control tactic, no different from a slick, emotionless press release. Once again, James Charles was painted as someone who only reacts when exposed, not out of genuine remorse. The issue wasn't just ignorance, it was mindset. Publicly complaining about a design meant for the visually impaired without bothering to learn its purpose reveals someone who prioritizes personal convenience over community values. The Daily Mail commented, "James Charles doesn't just lack knowledge, he lacks basic empathy." It added, "His behavior shows a severe case of main character syndrome. James believes everything must revolve around him, and anything inconvenient deserves to be erased." Though the clip was deleted, the fallout added a new crack to James Charles's already fractured image. From a symbol of creativity and barrier breaking, he now repeatedly appears in debates about arrogance, apathy, and ethical lapses. The tactile paving incident is just the latest slice in a long chain of scandals he seems incapable of learning from. Is this a temporary stumble, or evidence of an endless cycle? Insensitivity, criticism, apology, and back to insensitivity. After the tactile paving incident, James Charles' past scandals were swiftly unearthed, igniting a fiercer wave of criticism than ever before, as if the public was reminded that this beauty angel had never truly changed. In recent years, James had tried to rehabilitate his image, launching his painted cosmetics brand in 2023 and creating TikTok content tailored for Gen Z, a younger audience unaware of his controversial past. As a result, some naive comments from young fans surfaced, like, "Why do people hate James Charles? He's funny," or "I just started following him, he seems fine." These reactions highlight a troubling phenomenon. A new generation drawn to his surface charisma and accessible entertainment, oblivious to his contentious history. But just as James seemed to be on the cusp of a successful rebirth, a new scandal erupted, this one more severe than anything before. The controversy involving Kayla Mellick and Evan Johnson not only shook James Charles's image once again, but cemented the public's belief that he was trapped in a toxic cycle. Manipulation, denial, and lack of remorse. These were no longer isolated mistakes, but a recurring pattern, raising the question, has James learned anything from from his past cancellations. The scandal stemmed from grave accusations by Kayla Mellick, a prominent influencer with over 16 million TikTok followers and 1.8 million on YouTube. On April 7, 2025, Kayla posted a 2-hour YouTube video titled "He Doesn't Love You," detailing 9 months of physical and emotional abuse by her ex-boyfriend Evan Johnson. Among the most serious claims was that Evan broke her jaw during an assault. The video sent shockwaves online, leading to Evan's arrest in Sumner County, Tennessee that same day on charges related to domestic violence and probation violations. The video wasn't just a personal accusation, it was a clarion call about hidden abuse in relationships, sparking the Justice for Kayla movement across social platforms. James Charles' name surfaced soon after, and not by coincidence. Though not directly tied to the abuse, he was thrust into the spotlight when Zach Sellers, a former close friend of Evan Johnson, dropped a bombshell on the Be Better podcast in late April 2025. According to Zach, James, a close friend of Kayla, was fully aware of Evan's abusive behavior but maintained a close relationship with him for a long time. Zach revealed,
"When I speak on that I was with Evan every single day, I was with Evan majority of every single day. The only time I was not with Evan was when he went to Miami and then when he went to California. The times that I was with him, James would use Instagram as his Snapchat. And I didn't know, like, was not aware, like, why does James not have Snapchat? Like, why is he using Instagram photos, sending back and forth?"
The story grew more sensitive as Zach described the relationship between James and Evan, starting as playful but quickly turning private to a suspicious degree.
They were in communication every single day. Well, there was, some pictures going back and forth, and it was just James, like, just got home, shirtless, and, just laying on his bed, and then he'll just be, like, in his room doing, like, something, angle like this and stuff like that, just trying to, I guess, look pretty for Evan. So Evan was engaging back with, pictures, and, like, Evan would just sit here and, like, pull his phone up and be, like, stick out his tongue and stuff like that, just kind of, trying to, I guess, engage into like what James is, like, I guess, trying to get to.
Right.
There was another time that we were in the car, and when I say we were in the car, that's obviously we went to get in the car, go eat, go find something to do, go take some content for him and be done. And every single time, like, that was his go-to person. You got to think that Evan had me, but I'm not a celebrity. The only person he had after losing Kayla that he felt that he would be able to stay in the industry was James Charles.
A notable detail in Zach's account, James didn't just maintain a close relationship with Evan, he appeared precisely when Evan was most vulnerable and susceptible to manipulation. He spoke words that seemed comforting but carried a clear undertone that Kayla was the problem, that Evan wasn't at fault, and that James was always there, ready to listen, ready to step in. It was a form of emotional support crafted so cleverly, sweet enough to build trust, yet subtly dismissive enough to erase the ex's presence entirely.
I have, caught on of why he was so, like, do you trust him? Because they started picking up back on their conversation, and that's when James came back to Evan and was like, well, you didn't lose anything, Evan, out of this. If anything, you won. You got away from the psycho. She is the psychopath. Like, you are not the problem. She's the problem. She's been known to be the problem. She has been known to lie. She has been also known to make up complete fake stories just to get clout and have views. And then he goes, Evan, like, I'm here, like, for you no matter what. Like, whatever you need, let me know, call me. He says, also, when you get home later tonight, FaceTime me. I want you to FaceTime me. And he says, if we need to sleep on the phone, we can. I'm here for you.
Zach confirmed they communicated daily, but what shocked people even more was that James didn't just talk the talk. He even planned to invite Evan to Coachella 2025, securing VIP artist wristband tickets, a prestigious invitation, but one fraught with risk. Then, when Kayla's accusation video dropped, James immediately scrapped the entire plan, as if waiting for the chance to cut ties. He likely knew all too well. Continuing the connection would make it nearly impossible to preserve his image if he was linked to an abuser. Even more, the host of the YouTube channel Be Better, where the explosive podcast was shared, revealed that the video exposing James and Evan's relationship was unexpectedly reported for violations, causing it to be temporarily removed from the platform.
So I just wanted to let you guys know that James Charles is officially trying to get my video banned from YouTube. I have now received several messages from people saying that they either cannot access the video or when they search it, it doesn't pop up. I will include screenshots here.
This led many to question, is James feeling so threatened by the truth that he's trying to squash it from the start? For someone who claims to be innocent, this is a puzzling move. The situation escalated when Michaela Testa, an Australian influencer, posted a TikTok video on April 30, 2025, garnering over 24 million views. In it, she bluntly accused,
"Just letting everyone in Australia know that James Charles is sleeping with Evan Johnson, the one that broke Kayla Malik's jaw and badly beat and abused her, the one that was in prison. James Charles has been housing this motherfucker, flying him out to sleep with him."
This statement was like pouring gasoline on a fire, igniting a firestorm of outrage online. Shortly after, Kayla Malik escalated the situation further by posting 3 10-minute TikTok videos on May 15, 2025, publicly sharing screenshots of conversations between her and James. In them, when Kayla revealed she had left Evan due to his abuse, James coldly responded, "Can I have him now?" Initially, Kayla thought it was a joke, until she discovered Evan had posted a Snapchat story filmed in James's backyard. Only then did she realize James not only knew about Evan's violent past, but continued to maintain a close relationship with the person who had deeply hurt her. "I trusted James as a friend," Kayla said in her video. "But he didn't just betray me, he protected the very person who caused me so much pain." James Charles's initial response was silence, a familiar tactic he often used to wait out public backlash. It wasn't until May 6, 2025 that he posted a brief TikTok story condemning Evan's actions and claiming to support Kayla. But this move was swiftly criticized as superficial, performative, and solely aimed at protecting his image. A 15-second story about abuse? Does James think the public is childish? A Twitter user fumed. On May 7, after Evan's conviction, James posted an official TikTok video, denying any romantic or sexual relationship with Evan, insisting it was just a brief friendship and that he cut contact immediately after watching Kayla's video. He went further, threatening to sue Zach Sellers and others involved for spreading false information, calling it all completely fabricated. In a message allegedly sent to Zach, James wrote,
"Hello, I'm just now seeing these. I'm absolutely not on his side and would really appreciate it if you would leave me out of this. I only ever spoke to him because he manipulated me into thinking his situation was similar to what I went through. As soon as I saw Kayla's video, I felt disgusting and awful, and I've stopped responding to him altogether. He's obviously manipulating and lying to everyone. I should have never spoken to him, but you were in the car with him, so I don't think it's fair you're making a video accusing me of being some monster when he had you convinced too."
The message, dripping with self-justification and even attempting to drag Zach down with him, only fueled public outrage further. The Kayla Evan James scandal was no longer an isolated incident, but the culmination of a series of alarming behaviors, exposing a moral void in how James Charles handled consequences. First, James was accused of being a terrible friend, maintaining contact with Evan despite knowing full well about his abusive behavior toward Kayla. Zach further revealed that James had lied to Kayla about Evan's whereabouts, while continuing to message him and even planning to attend Coachella together. Worse, James was accused of using his influence to intimidate whistleblowers. Zach disclosed that James's company sent threatening emails to his modeling agency, demanding they handle him for spreading false information. Though some of Zach's claims lacked concrete evidence, James's response, using his status to silence opposition, infuriated the public. "This is old-school authoritarian power dressed up as a modern influencer," one Twitter user wrote. "Instead of taking responsibility, James chooses lawsuits. That's arrogance on steroids." These actions made the scandal a fatal blow to James's efforts to rebuild his image. Despite heavy investment in his painted brand and content aimed at Gen Z, his callous behavior and repeated mistakes eroded public patience. Another point of public anger was James's failure to directly apologize to Kayla. He claimed he tried to reach out but got no response, yet many argued Kayla had every valid reason to cut ties. James Charles once again prioritizes image over remorse, a PopBuzz article noted. Instead of apologizing, he justifies, threatens, and blames, as if others' pain is a stage for his performative regret. The community's response was a firestorm. The hashtag JamesCharlesUnfollow trended on TikTok, leading to a loss of over 700,000 followers in early May. Meanwhile, Kayla garnered overwhelming support with the Justice for Kayla campaign. After all this, one might expect James Charles to fade away. Yet the opposite happened. He remains present, celebrated, and continues to grow his brand, as if no mistakes were ever made. On TikTok and Instagram, he retains a loyal following, mainly Gen Z fans who either never witnessed his past scandals or simply don't care. During Coachella 2025, comments like "James is so funny, why do people hate him?" spread widely, reflecting a troubling reality. The public's memory is shrinking at an alarming rate. As new generations of fans replace the old, figures like James can reinvent themselves without facing real accountability. The issue is that the ignorance of younger audiences isn't their fault. It's a byproduct of a social media ecosystem that doesn't encourage collective memory. Platforms prioritize instant content, favoring short-term emotions over long-term values. And James, like many influencers, has systematically exploited this gap. Instead of retreating after scandals, James chooses immediate comebacks, launching his painted cosmetics brand, churning out viral content, and constantly pivoting his image. This isn't a sign of growth, but a commercial recovery strategy, where moving on quickly becomes the foundation for survival. No real lessons are learned, just a repackaged version, shinier, younger, and more likable. Notably, the influencer ecosystem doesn't just tolerate this cycle, it enables it. Despite the James Charles unfollow hashtag surging and costing him over 700,000 followers in May 2025, James still appears at major events and signs deals with big brands. For many companies, profit remains the ultimate measure, and morality becomes optional, as long as a controversial figure retains appeal to a consumer base. This raises a broader question, not just about James Charles, but about an entire generation of content creators. What defines an influencer's legacy? The values they once inspired, or their ability to survive despite every mistake? For James Charles, the scales are increasingly tipping toward the latter. James Charles has had countless chances to learn and grow, but the events of 2025 suggest he has little intention of changing. From the callous ignorance in the tactile paving incident, to betraying trust in the Kayla Malik saga, to coldly mocking people with disabilities, James continually pushes the boundaries of insensitivity and evades accountability. Will James Charles ever truly learn from these mistakes, or is he just waiting for the next drama to dodge responsibility again? Disappointing the public once more, the answer perhaps lies in his next actions, if he can still hold the public's attention after all that's happened. But more crucially, the question isn't just about James Charles, it's about us. Will the public continue to tolerate an endless cycle of hollow apologies and unethical behavior, or will they finally turn their backs on an influencer once seen as a symbol of progress? What do you think about James Charles and his latest dramas? Share your perspective, because this story, though tragic, is far from over.